Hey, everybody. Thanks for jumping on. I'm here with Matt Moreno out of California. 6 years in the business, got off to a rough start. A lot of us know that story, but he's picked it up here the last couple of years. We're going to hear all about it. He's got a great story to tell. Stick around. Here we go. Matt, it is good to see you.
It's good to see you, Jeff. How you doing today?
I am good. Thank you for jumping on. Out there in California. What, Yuba City? Is that what it is?
Yuba City, California.
Yuba City, California.
So
Small town.
Yeah, you'd say that. I call it an orchard in the middle of Chico, in between Chico and Sacramento. Boom.
Okay.
That's basically what it was when I moved here when I was a kid. You know, there was just one big orchard.
Yeah.
With a mall in the middle of it. And
yeah.
I mean, it's grown.
Are you from there? Born and raised? Were you born and raised?
I was not born and raised here. I moved here when I was like 10.
Okay.
And it's small, but there's still 60-something thousand people living here. I mean, it's
decent size. I mean,
but it's also like a gold rush town, right?
Okay.
And so there's just a ton of history here, and it's fun.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, good for you. So let's hear your story, man. Tell me, how long have you been in real estate? 6 years, right?
Yeah. I think going on 6 years.
Okay. So, what did you do prior to real estate?
Prior to real estate, I was in security management.
Okay.
And so I was the director of security at our mall here, but I also did corporate trainings and stuff in Sacramento.
Gotcha.
I have a degree in law enforcement, and that was my original plan was to become a game warden. Okay. And then we had our first daughter, and it was before, I'd just taken the test and passed the test to get into the thing. And then I was like, like I've got a child coming and I don't want to get shot at for a living. And so I ended up staying at the mall and doing that. It was a pretty tragic event happened, and I didn't want to go back there. So my wife was like, "You've been talking about getting into real estate. Why don't you give that a shot?" And so I did. And I immediately, the second I got my license and I signed on with a brokerage, just like my career did not get off to a great start at all. Okay. I didn't have the support that I needed. And it was unfortunate, but I don't regret it, right? Because if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't have the pain experience that I have today of going through that, and I wouldn't have the wisdom that I have today.
Sure. Were you on a team, or were you just a solo agent?
I was a solo agent, and it's like when you're a solo agent and you have no idea what you're doing because you just passed the test, right?
Yeah.
And absolutely nothing from the test is in the actual field of real estate, right? Yeah. We all know that.
Yeah.
And they don't tell that.
Keep you out of jail, but that's about it.
Figure that out yourself. But you go ask them for any kind of assistance, and they're like, "Just grind harder, bro. That's all you got to do." And we're like, "Exactly what though? Like, how? What are the steps necessary for a real estate agent to make it in real estate today?" And they're just like, "That's what you got to do. Just plug yourself in and grind harder." And we're like, plug ourselves into what? I mean, I can't spend $500 to go to an event where I can pay more money to go to different classes because I'm a failing agent. What can I do today to help tomorrow? Right. And they weren't giving us the support. And then Janelle got into it. We were making some sales, but it was like nothing.
And Janelle's your wife.
Janelle's my wife.
How long had you been in before she went and got her license?
A couple of years, 2.5 years, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. And
So do you have any roughly, how many closings, do you know? I mean, how many closings did you have like that first year? I mean, do you remember what it was?
first year, I only closed one deal.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second year, I think I closed 5 or something like that. And,
Okay.
you know, it just not
How, and just with your, what do you think for yourself? And just in all honesty, like how hard were you working it? I mean, you were doing everything they were telling you to do. You were
well,
trying to
yeah.
figure it out. Like,
So I would go to the training, and the training was just bragging about people taking listings, and you know, they were like, go ahead and get on the phones, but I didn't know who to call. And so I had an investor at the time that I was working for, and you know, I was making a lot of calls for him, but I wasn't making any calls for my business.
yeah.
You know, and looking back, I know what I did wrong. I know exactly what to do to get to this level of business, right?
Mm-hmm.
But back then we just didn't have any guidance, and then there wasn't any, you know, like anywhere to go to get it for us. So you know,
so
we've gotten to the point. We've gotten to the point. I mean, Janelle was already a waitress, and you know, so she was doing that and selling real estate.
Okay.
And then we hit a point where I had to take a night job at a dive bar in a small town outside of Yuba City, you know, cooking for the patrons of this bar and grill. And that's just not a fun feeling when you're when you want to do this and you're having to do that to keep, you know, things together and make ends meet.
Yeah, for
you know,
sure.
It makes you kind of feel like the brokerage that you're at isn't worth the money that they keep taking, right?
Right. Let me ask you, how much was it costing you to be at that brokerage?
$266 a month for both of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was there a split? There was a split on the commissions?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Just like everywhere else is 80-20 split and $16,000 cap.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know,
right.
It's pretty standard.
It is. I mean, they vary some, but yeah, for the most part, you know, different, you know, you do this much volume, your commission, you know, the splits get a little better. You do this much, it gets a little better. That kind of, a lot of kind of stuff goes on. But okay. Now, and so when you had to take that job, how many you have kids? How many kids?
Yeah, we have 2 daughters.
Okay. How old are they?
Right now, they're 11 and 8.
Okay. Yep. So 6 years ago, so they were like what, 5 and 2?
Yeah, they were pretty young.
That's hard.
Yeah.
And you're having to work at a bar, and your wife is working as a waitress, and you're trying to figure out how to do it.
So I'm getting home at like 11 at night, and she's working nonstop at her restaurant, you know, and we're like, wait a minute, this is not right. Something's not right here. Yeah. And so 1 month I was just done with it. So I talked to her, and I was like, you know, I was actually in the kitchen at the bar, you know, and my friend called me, and he was, at the time, he was a lender.
Okay.
And Steve McCarthy had a conversation with him, and I'd seen a lot of stuff that Steve was doing online, like live content. And I was trying to get as much education as I could. And so I was just watching everything and anything he did.
Right.
And I was doing open houses at the time and trying to YouTube, you know, what scripts to use, because I wasn't being provided all that. And so I talked to my buddy, and he was like, yeah, you know, I mean, Steve McCarthy has a lot to offer you. You need to call him and have a conversation. And so I did. I think I hit him up at like 2:00 in the morning over Messenger. And I was like, Steve, we need to have a conversation. And he's like, wait, what's happening? You know, and I'm like, I need a meeting with you. And he's like, you know, set the appointment. What's best for you, Tuesday 5 or Wednesday at 2, you know?
Right.
And so we ended up meeting, and I'd already talked to Janelle, and we'd already made the decision, you know, that this opportunity was the best opportunity for us at the time.
Right.
So
And so Steve was at EXP at that point when you reached out to him. He had made the move over here. Okay.
And so, you know, the McCarthys took us under their wing, and they asked what's the problem? Okay.
Right.
Here's the problem. Okay. Well, here's all the training you could ever want and more, you know, and, you know, it was just awesome, you know, because at the time your mindset is not conducive with selling real estate, right? You feel like you've been beat up for a couple of years, and it wasn't very great, you know?
Yeah.
So
did you ever, I'm sure at some point over those 2 years, I mean, did you get to a point along the way at times where it was just like, what the heck am I doing? Like maybe this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing.
Right.
I mean, did you get that point where I'm like, just throwing the towel? I got to go a different direction. I mean,
I didn't.
You didn't get there. Okay.
I wanted to be a realtor so bad.
Good.
And not just a realtor, but I wanted to know what I was doing. You know,
right.
I can't speak for my wife, you know, but this is what I wanted to do. And I've wanted to be a realtor since I was like 18.
Okay.
But it's always scary, right? Because people are like, you got to save up 6 months worth of. Nobody can do that while they're working at Starbucks. You know what I mean? Like,
that's hard. Yeah.
It's hard. So
yeah, for sure.
So we just worked our tails off once we got to EXP, you know, and it was fun all of a sudden. You know,
that was about 3.5 years ago, right?
Yeah,
roughly.
Yeah, roughly.
Okay.
And since I met Steve and Kelly McCarthy, I mean, I used to be afraid of like all kinds of stuff, like going on planes, for instance. Now I'm like flying to different states to events and selling a ton of homes. I'm a published author. Like we were featured in Top Agent magazine last year. Like they completely changed my life. So did the company.
Wow.
You know,
that's awesome.
Yeah. And so now it's just all I want to do is give back. You know, we had a rough start. Yeah, it sucked. Yeah, it happened. So what do you do from there? You know, you start making the phone calls, beating on doors, you know, doing every single thing you need to do to become successful. And then once you are, guess what? It's time to hand it back to people.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I wrote the book. That's what the book's all about.
Yeah. Tell me about the book real quick. What do you got?
So it's Path of Travel, the Power Behind Know, Like, and Trust is what I titled it.
Okay.
And it's my path of travel in real estate to success, right? So there's stories in there about all the fun stuff I went through, right? But it also teaches people what they need to do to succeed in real estate. So what you need to do your first 90 days in real estate, working with buyers, how to work with sellers, how to work with investors. What is SEO? You know, talking about search engine optimization, you know, which leads you into search engine marketing, which teaches you how to market your business the right way and get out there. You know, that's what it is. I'll hold it up if you'd like.
Yeah, let me see it. See, Path of Travel. That's awesome.
That's the book.
There you go.
I had them publish it small in size, so it fits in a purse or a pocket or in a server's apron or wherever you're struggling. You can read it, you know. And
where can people find it?
Amazon.com.
Okay.
Just go to Amazon. Yeah.
Gotcha. Very cool.
And people can get it there. And, you know, there are ways to get a hold of me through there.
Nice.
You know, but
at what point when so you meet with Steve, you know, he shows you this, you know, the EXP model, you know, you talk, you know, I mean, I'm sure at some point in there, he's probably asking like, tell me about the last couple of years. What's been your challenges? What's been the struggles? What's it been like when you looked at this model and when you got into EXP, like, I mean, what was the most exciting thing about coming over here?
The technology. For me, I'm a huge nerd, bro. Like, like when it comes down to it, I love being on computer, and it's where I'm comfortable, you know, sitting down and doing things, you know, online. So it was a huge benefit that we could hop into the world and there's 50 hours worth of training every single week.
Okay. And I think it's way beyond that at this point. I was in there yesterday.
Yeah.
I was in there yesterday showing, I was
Yeah.
giving somebody a tour through the office, whatever. And I went into the university and, here's you can click on the link. Here's today's classes. Like just yesterday, there must have been 25. I mean, and they're all like an hour each. I mean, it's probably 25 hours yesterday.
Right. So imagine coming from an environment that wasn't offering anything to that.
Yeah.
We were already sold on the model, because here in town, like when EXP came to Yuba City, it scared everybody.
Okay.
And it's still scaring people as far as what we offer. And they're just like, man, I'm going to lose all my agents to EXP. And yes, probably are.
Probably so. Yeah.
It's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it changed our existence, like completely,
That's awesome.
And
talk about, just so people understand, because I think it's such a weird thing. I mean, people see that, well, you guys are a virtual company. Like I show this to people sometimes, like, they feel like the support, I need the support. How am I going to get support? I know the answer to that, but talk about that. Like, talk about how the support, like, how does that work for people with a virtual brokerage like EXP? What kind of support have you had since you've been here? Talk a little bit about what that's been like.
I'm sitting in my office at a brick and mortar real estate agency that is EXP.
Okay.
Right. And so in our local area, it's just like anywhere else that you would go. Right.
Okay.
It's not you working on your computer down at Starbucks trying to act like an agent. Right. Like there's actually somewhere where you go to work.
So you have that where you are right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm in my office right now.
Okay.
And I know some places don't, and that's fine. Work from anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Rent your own office space, do something. You're going to, work in your house. That's what I did for a minute before we got this office. We were just working in there with the kids talking to us and stuff, and everybody's scared of COVID. And, we're like, we're still going to sell. I mean, if everybody else is pumping the brakes, I'm going to go get my COVID on. And we're showing houses and, doing everything we could to stay up. And, I mean, yes, it's a cloud brokerage, but it's not different than any other brokerage, really, like in the fact that everybody's going paperless, right? So essentially, isn't everybody kind of a cloud brokerage?
Yeah.
Like you're getting all of your tools online. It's no different.
Well, and it's funny because I've been in the business 20 years, and I actually walked away from I had an office. I was at Keller Williams. I had an office there. I was there for 5 years. I had an office there, and I was paying $600 a month. And I remember I think it was like 2008, 2009. I walked away from the office. Like the only one in there was my assistant. I had like two guests in there for my team and all this stuff, but nobody's ever there. We're busy. We're all out doing stuff. And I'm like, I finally just trying to save money, whatever. We were in a shift, major shift in the market back then, obviously.
Oh yeah.
The recession was huge. And I'm looking for everything I can to, ways to cut corners and cut costs.
Right.
And so I talked to my assistant, Teresa, and, hey, Teresa, would you want to work from home? She said, oh my gosh, I'd love to work from home. And so we set her up at home, and I got rid of my $600 a month, office bill. And I haven't been in an office since. Now I will meet people at Starbucks, buyers, I found a lot of times first-time buyers, they'd almost rather meet somewhere like that. It just feels more neutral, or
they don't
it
know,
just
like,
feels safer.
yet. Right.
Yeah, like to come into an office, it can be intimidating and stuff. Sellers, I'm going to meet them in their home,
Right.
Like out-of-state clients coming in, whatever. If I needed to, I could go to Regis. We have a contract with Regis, which you probably don't have that in Yuba City. We have 2 of them here in Colorado Springs. There's 3,000 across the country. We have access to those anywhere. But the other thing I've done too is I'll call my lender. Hey, can we meet in your office, Friday afternoon?
They want you to take that space. They want you
totally. Title company, whatever. Absolutely. You got an open conference room. Absolutely. It's yours, whatever. And so I've never had a problem meeting people where we needed to meet, so it's always worked. like that. But,
and
and
it
I think
always
the other,
will work. I
it
mean,
always will work.
I came from a seller's house right before this,
Yeah.
Race back to get on here with you. But I mean, we met at their house because that's what we're
That's what you
selling. So
do.
why would we meet them anywhere else other than just to hang out? Right.
Yeah, you need to see the house. I just think the one thing that it's blown my mind, I've been here now for 4.5 years, and the collaboration here is beyond anything that I've experienced in my 20 years in the business.
Yeah. I tell people that, I mean, we're an information sharing company.
Mm-hmm.
The culture behind what we do here, it's not being secret about what made us successful. It's, here's the information, run with it, see what you can do with it,
Yeah.
And it's always fun. I'm just became a certified mentor, but I've been helping people in our office, and it's so much fun when you see that click in somebody where they just figure out what works best for them, whether it's doing open houses or, knocking on doors and talking to people there, or it's calling on the phone. It's fun to see people start to succeed and get excited about it. And being able to have some influence over that process and make sure that they're getting the right information and doing things the right way. I really think it's important that once you hit a certain level, and this isn't anything, right? Not just, obviously, this is what we know, right? Real estate. Right. But no matter where you're at or what you're doing, if you're good at it, you need to share that information and help other folks out. Totally. And so that's what we're all about here in Yuba City. Steve and I are just trying to create as much value for people as we humanly can.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I mean, it's such a big part of this. That's partly why I do this. I've been doing this 20 years. We're still selling. I don't know. My wife and I, we work together.
You guys are still in production?
We work together as well. Yeah. We do. I don't know. We did 42 deals last year.
Oh, nice.
Hit Icon with the XP. We've hit that, several times.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome. But we are pulling back. We are slowly pulling back because of the way this model works. And that's the thing, I don't know. Just, we thought long and hard about this name, Freedom Team.
Sure.
As far as our group, because it's just, I think people get into this business because, I can be my own boss. I can set my own schedule. I get more time with my family. I can do these things. And it typically just doesn't work the way you think it's going to. Number one, you're going to have to hustle and grind, but plug into all the stuff, get the help. But once you start building and it gets going, you ask somebody, where do you want to be 5 years from now? Well, I want to be up to here. I want to be doing this much production. Two ways to make more money in this business: sell more homes or sell higher priced homes.
Right.
Most people, it ends up selling more homes. Well, that's more of everything. Yeah. And there's less freedom with that.
Yeah.
There's less time in the day. There's more time away from your family. There's more late nights on the computer, more open houses, more of everything, and more marketing costs. It's more mileage on the car. It's more of everything.
Yeah.
And there's a challenge. Like, where do there's no way out with that. It's just, it can be so hard. There's no freedom. And I think that's the thing I love about this model. Right. Number one, brand new agents can get off to a great start here.
Yeah.
If they plug in. If you could go back 6 years ago and, like, knowing what you know now, what would you tell yourself going back 6 years ago
to do different for a couple of years?
Okay.
That's you think about that question, it's a paradox, right? Because of course I would want to teach myself everything that I know now and immediately be successful, but unfortunately that would have made me successful at the wrong brokerage at the wrong time. Right. I had to go through what I went through.
Absolutely.
All of us, any experience that you have, positive or negative, you have to go through that in order to become the person that you are.
Yep.
And so, I'd be like, you just got to suck it up, bud. Like, it's going to be rough.
I tell people all the time, don't compare yourself. That's the thief of any kind of joy, peace of mind, everything else. Compare yourself to other people. Your journey is your journey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you need to go through what you need to go through. Some people get off to this great quick start, whatever, but chances are, we don't know what was going on before they got into real estate. They came in with all kinds of
stuff.
When
it seems like they got off to a good start, a quick one.
Yeah.
One, they probably didn't. It's just perception, public perception. But
Right.
if they did, they're going to hit a point. There's ups and downs. I mean, it's coming for them. I mean,
Right.
everybody's
Or it's what they did before. Like I've got a guy here in town. He got in and he got off to a great start. Now for 20 years he was in car sales.
Oh,
yeah, and so you remember when he had this book of business that was huge already. He just starts getting the word out. Hey, I'm doing real estate, whatever.
Right.
I mean, he's huge. Like within his first year, just killed it. Whatever. So it can happen. We don't know the backstory. That's my point. We don't know. They went through their hard knocks maybe over here, and it got them. So now they're ready to go. Now they come into here and they've already paid that price. We don't know the backstory.
Yeah. Exactly.
Everybody has a backstory. So your journey is your journey, and don't knock your journey.
Yeah.
Dig in, learn everything you need to learn so you can become the person you're supposed to be. Now you can handle the rest of the journey, And
I think it's crucial too to look at the fact that, like, personally, when I think about other realtors in our area or anywhere, right, they're not competition to me.
Yeah.
Okay. They're colleagues. The only competition that I see myself having is who I was 12 months ago. And every single year I look at where I've come and I look at where I started a year ago and I'm like, wow, that's great. And if I ever have a different attitude about it, like obviously something went wrong and I got to figure out where. Right. But that's really the only competition a person needs to have.
Yeah.
Is that, and I think our industry would be a lot easier as a result,
For sure. Well, and I'm really big on, I say this all the time, collaboration over competition. I feel like we're all in this together. There's plenty to go around.
Yeah.
Whatever. Let's all work together. We do a mastermind every Tuesday morning. It's open to all agents everywhere.
That's
we
awesome.
All kinds of guests on there, whatever. I mean, it's awesome. And, we don't talk EXP at all. It's all production related. It's just, trying to help people, succeed in this business and do well, add value wherever we can. We're just all about that. The ones that want to join us will, the ones that don't, that's fine. It's all good. It's got to be the right thing for you. Yeah. So anyway, well, I appreciate your time, man. I mean, from your first year one deal and now you're up to, $5+ million a year, which is big out there, Yuba City. You're doing, 20 deals or more, whatever. I mean, you're making headway. You're doing.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just having that goal of either doubling or tripling your business year after year.
Yeah.
Right. And keep that at the forefront of your mind on your vision board, and looking at it every day and being like, yeah, that's happening. So,
for sure. Where do you see yourself going? I mean, what would, like 5 years from now, where do you want to be in EXP in your real estate business?
So obviously, I love selling real estate,
sure.
But is it what I want to do for the rest of my life? At some point, because I really like to write. I really like to read. I love it. I read like I'm reading like 5 different books right now.
Yeah.
Right. And I just absorb that information and
you can see over my shoulder here. I like to read too.
Yeah. And I really enjoy writing. So after Path of Travel came out, I was like, okay, I'm going to take some time off from doing that. And then I think it was pathetic. It was like 3 days or 4 days. And I started like outlining some new ideas. And now I'm writing a book on mindset,
Good for you.
And I'd like to do that full time. Right. But what's going to pay for it? Obviously real estate. That's what we know. And that's what we do. Yeah. So in 5 years, I'd like to get my business to where it's a little more self-sufficient and still existing, but maybe I don't have to put in so much time,
Right.
That would be awesome. But yeah, I really see myself building myself into a career of, behind being the author,
That's awesome.
And good just mentoring people and helping them.
Yeah.
That's really what I want to do. So
yeah. Very cool. I think, my wife. Yeah, no, I hear you. Well, and I think with this model, that's the beauty of this model. Yeah. I mean, I don't see myself ever stepping out and never selling a house. I mean, whatever. Now, I'd love to get to the point where I could refer it all out and make more money than the guy doing 100 deals a year, because this model will allow that if you build it right. whatever. But there's so many other things I want to do. My wife and I were very involved with our church. We lead a small group here at our house.
Awesome.
I lead a men's group every Tuesday morning. We have a 6
Right.
a.m. breakfast at our
wow.
church. With there's like almost 400 men that
Really?
come to this breakfast. Yeah, it's
That's
pretty
amazing.
Yeah, it's like 83 different churches, I think, something like that all come together. It's
Oh,
really
wow.
powerful. But 6 a.m. I'm like, that's the one day of the week I have to set an alarm. But oh my God, otherwise I don't set it. But
Right.
anyway, but being able to do more things, and I think again, here's this freedom idea, because
Yeah.
again, it's I think we can get so caught in the hamster wheel of this that all these things we wanted to do, right? Lead more things, our church, do different things. Like there's just no time. We had to pull out with 10 years ago, we had to pull out of everything because we were just time broke, making a lot of money, but we were
Right.
doing, my God, we were just working 7 days a week. It was crazy. We built a monster. And so I'm so grateful that I found this, 4.5 years ago, because it's like, when you can start making, whatever, 4 and 5 figures a month in just passive income, that starts freeing some things up. I can start setting aside some of those deals or referring them out and make more money than the guy doing 100 deals a year. Now I can go get more involved in my church. I can write more books. I can
Well, and it's
I
so
can do all these
important,
things.
I mean, your kids are only that age that one day, like tomorrow they'll be older. So whatever experiences they missed out on that day because you were at work too long.
Yep.
Well, that's unfortunate,
I was on the phone. I was on the phone with a friend of mine, just to share. This is several years ago. My oldest daughter, she's 26 now.
Oh, okay.
And but I remember she was 16. So this is 10 years ago, because I remember this. I was catching up with a friend of mine from California, from when I used to live out there. And and we hadn't talked for about a year or so, whatever. We're catching up, and on the wife and the kids, the family. How's Jasmine? She's 16. And here's what he said. He said, "Wow, you got 100 Saturdays left." And dude, I mean, 10 years later, I remember that conversation, because like the switch flipped for me. I'm like, I hadn't thought about it like that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I got 2 years and whatever, and I just want to go take a nap. And it's like, whatever. Like, wait a minute, I got 100 Saturdays left, because then she's 18 and off to college, and here we go. It's like,
building her own life. Yeah,
totally. I heard something online. It was like last week or something. I was flipping around and I saw a video, and it was like an interview going on, these two guys. And one guy, he was asking, he said, how old are your parents? And the guy asked, and he said, well, my dad's 80 and my mom's 78. How many times a year do you get to go see them? They lived in another state. Well, I go back about twice a year. And he said, wow, think about this. Your dad's 80. If he lives to be 85, let's just say, you've got 10 visits left.
Damn.
It's perspective. We think we have all the time in the world.
We do not.
But I'm telling you, that time with your kids, anybody's got kids out there, it's a blink. It flies by. My kids are 26 and 23 now. They were 6 and 3 when I started in this business. And I'm telling you, and there's about 3 years there where I did it wrong, regretfully. And it's a blur. I mean, I don't have the memories with them. Now we finally grabbed hold of that, and we were able to start traveling, and we were able to start, figuring out different ways to leverage ourselves to get our time back. We built another business that paid us passive income, and it freed us up to where now we've been to Ireland twice. We went to Paris. We've been to England twice. I went to Dubai with a buddy of mine. I've been to Mexico 20 times. The kids, went with us on most of these trips. Disney World 3 times. I mean, they have so many memories now, and I'm so grateful we were able to figure that out before it was too late. Because I'm telling you, there is a time when you're going to look back and go, wow.
Janelle and I talked about it. We went to Dallas for Build. What was it? A week or
last
two
week?
ago?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we're out there and we're like, man, next time we're going to bring the girls.
Yeah.
And, this place has a water park. This place has all the cool stuff, right? And we're going to spend a little extra time out there just as a family, aside from business, and do some exploring and just hanging out and have a little vacation after the work,
For sure.
Yeah.
It's a great way to do it. I mean, it's important to get that time, with your kids. They will remember that. We took our kids to Disney World. They were 10 and 8, and man, they had the time of their lives. I mean, they still talk about that trip. Now, I will tell you, that was when I was in the busy season with my team. There were 4 days. I sent my wife to the park with the kids. I'll call you when I get there, because where's Dad? He's on his laptop in the hotel room, putting out fires, dealing with inspection issues, returning calls from clients. And working with my team and, whatever. And it's like, oh my goodness, it was crazy. And I
Right.
know that's the story for most realtors. They go on vacation, but it's not really a vacation. I
Yeah.
hate those pictures you see, here's the feet, on the beach.
Yeah.
And the laptop on the lap. Here's my office for the day. I'm like, put that away. You
Yeah.
really, I hate that picture.
Yeah, enjoy yourself.
It's like wouldn't you rather have a margarita in your hand? I mean, seriously, you would, But I think we've got this perception that, oh, we're living this dream life, and it's like, come on, there's a lot more to it than just working,
right,
around the clock and on vacation. We don't want to do that on vacation, and most people, again, there's no way to get that freedom to do it. I think this company allows us to do it,
Absolutely.
and you're on your way. You'll be there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely. Well, I appreciate it, Matt. Anything you want to wrap up with? Any other thing you want to put out there at all? Anything at all? Any thoughts?
I think we covered it, man.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Thank you for being on here. And seriously, guys, any of you guys that know Matt, you're seeing this on Facebook, YouTube, whatever, man, get back to him. If you're a realtor out there at a different company, I mean, just call Matt up, ask him, like, tell me about this EXP thing. Tell me what the difference was. What was the big difference between where you were before, where you are now? Let's talk about it. It is worth digging in on to see why we're growing the way we're growing. If you're on my YouTube channel, give it a like, put some comments in there, whatever. If you got a question, either one of us will definitely get back to you, get it answered for you. But we appreciate you being on here, Matt. Thank you very much, man. Have a great rest of your week. All right.
Hey, you too. Thank you.
Okay, bud. You got it.
Bye.
We'll see you guys. Take care.